Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to look at another head-mounted display, and I've reviewed a few of these already. I'm pretty interested in them. I've been collecting them for a while now. Some of you guys may have seen my other videos about the Sony HMD headsets, the Oculus Rift, the Avegant Glyph, and the Vuzix iWear. Now this one we have the Royole Moon. I hope I'm pronouncing that company's name correctly, Royole. Some of you guys commented on my Avegant Glyph versus Vuzix eyewear video about this company, Royole. It's actually a Chinese company, that they made a product called the Royole X, and I looked it up, and it seems like, well, they don't give really good specs on it. Like, I looked at the specs on it, and it said something like 3300 PPI, and I was like, what does 3300 PPI exactly mean? It doesn't say like the actual usually for HMDs they show you like this big of a screen from this distance, like a 100-inch screen from you know, like 10 feet away, 15 feet away, something like that. So I had no idea what 3300 PPI means, pixels per inch. That's usually a term reserved for smartphones, right? So no idea why they would use that on the HMD. So yeah, some of you guys have asked me to review that headset, the Royole X. So when I was trying to order the Royole X or look for one used on eBay and stuff, I found something better. I found that this company, Royole, actually released a new product about the time I was searching for the Royole X. And this one is basically an improved version. So this one is basically the Royole X, but with a little bit better specs and the ability to play 3D, I believe. So that's why it prominently advertises 3D glasses for a 3D experience. This foldable design is not the world's first, by the way. Avegant Glyph also uses that. Unlimited content sources, which I don't really believe is true, but that's what they say. 800-inch giant curved screen. I'm also very skeptical about this. Like 800 inches. Like, how big is 800 inches? I have no idea. I only know like a 100-inch screen. You know, I can kind of visualize that. I have no idea how big 800 inches is, so that's, yeah, I'll have to see about that. Noise canceling 22 decibels. This was also on the previous model, the Royole X, so it's just basically the same as that. Now this, these specs is something I'm quite happy about, because the Royole X didn't list these kind of specs. You know, it didn't say how big of a virtual screen it had, and these specs are a little bit better. I like them a little bit better. Dual 1080p displays. Okay, AMOLED displays. Okay, that's easier to tell what kind of display it's using. So yeah, this is basically the improved version of the Royole X. This is called the Royole Moon. This is a new model they came out with. I think just a few months ago, maybe last month or 2 months ago, they released this. I haven't seen any reviews on this done yet, so I hope I'm the first one. Yeah, so the specs on this is that they have 16 gigs of built-in storage apparently, and 2 gigs of RAM, up from 1 gig on the Royole X. And yeah, the ability to play 3D. And yeah, that's the major improvements anyways. You can see, I think the headset design is very similar though. Okay, so counterclockwise, clockwise. You can rotate this for volume. Tap twice for into and back. I guess that's the media controls right on the side. Kind of reminds me of the Avegant Glyph and the Vuzix. 2017 Innovation Awards. Really? 2017 hasn't quite arrived just yet. I mean, in 2 weeks it'll be 2017, but it's not 2017 quite yet. So it's interesting. As Bluetooth, I think this is something the Royole X does not have. Is Bluetooth. The Royole Moon has it. All right, so let's get on with this unboxing. All right, that. By the way, I'm using my Sony music recorder to record this one, because my unboxing videos for these bigger type of devices, it's kind of hard to do with the iPhone. The iPhone has like a more limited space, so I have to use the wide angle for this. But I hope you guys can see it still. Anyways, yeah, this is what the box comes with. Okay, what do we get here? Black velvet bag. Okay, it's very similar to the bag that you get with the Glyph and the Vuzix. I think this is very similar. Yep, does indeed say Royole on it. This, I wonder how they got this name, this Chinese company. Who knows? They always make the darndest names, don't they? Alright, we have a cable here. This is a micro USB, and it's even branded with their name, Royole. Interesting. So usually it's just a generic USB, but this one's branded with their name. What do we get here? This looks like kind of a, this looks kind of like a smartphone. I mean, yeah, but it's not. You know, it doesn't have a display, but it has the same size as a smartphone. No, it's just a connector. So it has a power connector, headset connector, micro HDMI here. Oh, micro HDMI goes in here. Then we have the headset connector goes in here. And then we have a micro USB going here to charge it, I guess. So this is kind of like, what is it? It's like the Sony HMZ headsets where they had this giant microprocessor. By the way, if you guys don't know about the Sony HMZ, it's basically like PSVR, except instead of VR, it just simulates a virtual display. I mean, it's basically, I looked at the PSVR and it's very, very similar to the old Sony HMZs. They have the this is like that. It's a separate kind of device that you have to connect to with your headset, and it's like kind of processing the power, I guess, or processing the signal. It's like another signal processor for it. Anyways, this is much smaller than the one that's with the Sony. The Sony one was like a giant, well, not giant, but it's kind of like a, how can I say it? It's like double the size of this probably. Yeah, it's kind of like HDMI processor or something. It's like double the size of this, but this one's just the size of a smartphone, so it's better, I think. All right, but still, like the Avegant Glyph and the iWear, you know, they didn't have anything like this, so surprised that the Royole does. I hope that means that I get better picture quality out of it. Okay, so we have cleaning cloth here, quick start guide for the Moon, user manual, and a warranty card. Okay, so of course this is going to be in simplified Chinese as well. Okay, so this tells me basically the controls. Let's double press. Okay. Yep, anyways, it's that. Well, so this is a quick start guide. Okay, this is the user manual. Okay, take a look later. We have up next more cables. Yay. It's funny that they created this custom cutout for it instead of just using you know, just wrapping it. Okay, so this is a micro HDMI to HDMI, I believe, and this is a micro USB to USB. Yeah, so micro USB to USB right here, and micro HDMI to HDMI here. We have, what is this? Nothing? Why does it got cutouts like this? That's weird. Alright, then we got the headset itself, right? Yeah. This thing looks, wow. This thing looks heavy duty, man. 3D virtual mobile theater, designed by Royole, assembled in China, of course. 2D, 3D button right there. I assume that's to switch from 2D to 3D. In the Sony HMZ headsets, which can also play 3D, by the way, you had to access a separate menu button to be able to switch, but this one just has it separately, 2D, 3D right there. We have diopter adjustments right here. I assume this is for, yeah, this is basically for your eyes, I think, or, yeah, I think this is like a what, a -2, -7 to a +2, yeah. So in case you guys are wearing glasses and stuff, for most of you guys it should be fine. It's from -7 to +2, so you can adjust for your eyes. I did LASIK surgery, so I'm no longer, I don't have to do that anymore. And what else we have here? We have kind of like a giant padding for the eyes here. This is much bigger than the padding you find I just tried the Oculus Rift recently, so yeah, much bigger than the padding for that. 3D virtual mobile theater. So this one seems pretty big padding. It's like the one you would wear for like snow goggles or something. And this is noise canceling headphones, built-in noise canceling headphones. I don't think you can connect your own. Can you? No, I don't think you can connect your own. So that's different than some of the other headsets. Yep. And it's the flip over top cover right here. I think you can flip, so flipping this one up. I think it should be able to flip this one up, right? That's what it showed in the pictures. Okay, we have a touchpad here. I guess this is for the controls, right? Let's remove this. Nothing there. Then we have, I guess, is the on button. I'm guessing that's the on button there. And then this cable is micro HDMI cable. Yeah, I'm guessing that is micro HDMI. All right. That's what they mean by unlimited content sources. Anything that plays HDMI should be able to play on this, which is standard for HMDs. You know, this isn't a VR headset, so it should be able to play pretty much anything that has HDMI connection. There's nothing in here. No, nothing in here either. So yeah, that's the Royole Moon headset right here, guys. All right. So got the headset, and so the box comes with the headset. This is, by the way, when you pay, when you buy this thing online, and right now I think you can only buy from the Royole website. This one is about $800. The previous model, the Royole X, is about $700. And for comparison, the Vuzix iWear is about $500, and the Avegant Glyph, I think, is about $500 or $600, depending on your discount. Yeah, I think that's how the prices stand right now. This is definitely the most expensive out of the three that I had to purchase. When I bought the Sony HMZ headset, that one was about $800 or $900. So this is around that price. So I expect very good video quality from this, considering I paid more than I paid for my Avegant Glyph. I only paid $500 because of the Kickstarter, and the Vuzix iWear, which is also $500. This is a good $300 more expensive than those ones. So I expect it to be better. I paid $600 for the Oculus Rift, and that's basically a headset if you use the virtual desktop with it. Though that can only be used on computers. This one should be able to be used with anything. So yeah, this is definitely still the most expensive. More expensive than the Rift, more expensive than the Avegant and Vuzix. It comes with a cleaning cloth, the HDMI or signal processor thing right here, this pack, I guess. Then you have a couple of adapters right here for USB and HDMI. Then you have micro USB here, cable. Then you got the carrying case, and yeah, the manual. So that's about it, guys. That's the boxing, and let me give you my opinions of this after I play around with it for a while. Alright guys, so I've used all three of these headsets now for watching video and playing some games on them. I've hooked it up to my PlayStation TV for all three of them, so I can make a fairly accurate comparison using the same device for all three. So here we have the Avegant Glyph, which I've already covered before, and this is the Vuzix iWear, which I've also covered before. I've done a comparison between these two. Now here is the new one that I just unboxed today, and I spent a few hours with it already, the Royole Moon. And this one is, actually I'm going to tell you guys my first impressions of using this device is pretty good. The picture quality is pretty good, and the viewing distance, like the amount of image that you get, like how big that virtual image is, that virtual theater, if you will, is actually quite good. If you remember from my Vuzix or Avegant review, the problem I have with the Avegant Glyph, so the positives about the Avegant Glyph is that the picture quality is really vivid, it's really crisp, it's really clear, and this is very, very portable. You know, it's just the size of a Beats Studio headphone, you know, and you can actually use it as a headphone. You can just push these ones in, and then you can use it as a headphone, which is great. The downside is that the picture image, the image size itself, or the virtual image size that you get with this, is pretty small. So you have a pretty small virtual projection, I guess. So that's the only, pretty much the only downside of this. Otherwise, everything else is good about the Avegant Glyph. It's just the picture size is too small in there, so you won't experience as much immersion as using these two. So that's the Avegant Glyph, and this one retails for about $500 to $700, brand new, that is. So yeah, that's the Avegant Glyph, and that's the ups and downs I've experienced with this one. For portability and stuff, I think this one is still the most portable one. Okay, so this one, the Vuzix iWear. The upside with this one is that it's very immersive. Like the virtual theater or virtual picture you get with this one is quite big, and quite large. So it's basically like as if the big screen TV or virtual screen TV that you get with this, like 100-inch TV or whatever you get with it, is like pressed very, very close to your face, so that there's almost no black space around it. Whereas with the Glyph, you know, there's some black space around it. You can see that there is some space, you know, that could be used in here for the virtual space. But here, virtually all the virtual space, pretty much all the virtual space in here is taken up by that virtual display, which is great. So that's the plus side of the Vuzix iWear. The downside is that it's kind of bulky. I mean, look at it. It's a pretty bulky device. It's pretty heavy, pretty hefty, and you know, it comes with this other cable here that you have to use. You have to connect. So basically, this is how it works for these devices. Like, you connect a micro HDMI to here. Well, you connect a micro HDMI to here, and you charge this one with mini or micro USB, right? And you can also use your own headphones with this if you want, I guess. I think there's a separate audio jack there. This one, I don't think you can use your own headphones. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to use your own headphones. But this one, in order to connect the device, you have to use the supplied HDMI cable. So this one you would have to use a converter or a micro HDMI to HDMI cable here. But this one you have to use this cable that it supplies you with, and this USB to charge. Whereas this one charges, the Avegant Glyph charges with micro USB, which is a little bit more convenient, I guess, because I have more micro USB chargers than I do with full USB chargers. So yeah, you have to charge with these two cables. You have to use these two cables basically. They're connected to this already, so you don't have a choice. Yeah, and it's pretty bulky, and I guess once you strap it on and stuff, it looks, I mean, it is kind of comfortable, but you would also have to put in the separate light shield, which I really don't like about this. Like, this comes with a separate light shield, and you have to like strap it on and stuff, and it always falls out and stuff. So this time I didn't put in the light shield, but if you don't have the light shield, it's not as immersive. You'll definitely see like light leaking off the bottom of the headset. You'll definitely see that light leaking out, and unless you're in like pitch black darkness, you're gonna notice that, and it's pretty annoying. So yeah, and then you have to use the light shield, which is really annoying because that thing is really hard to keep in. And then yeah, that's what I gotta say. That's the downside. It's bulky. You gotta, this cable is like permanently connected, so you have to use it. And yeah, the light shield is you have to use that, and it's really annoying to always have to carry that around as well. So that's a Vuzix iWear. Finally, the new product. What do you think about the Royole Moon? First of all, it's pretty cool, right? It has this light up display on the sides and stuff. This is because these are actually capacitive touchscreens. So they're actually, so whereas with the Avegant Glyph, you had these physical buttons on the side here, right? This is the actual physical button you can press to play or pause or adjust the volume. These ones are all capacitive touch buttons. So you can't see the buttons right here, but basically going like this will adjust the volume. It will like increase the volume, decrease the volume when you do this on it. Yeah, you have to press this circular shape outside of this ring, I guess, and then that will raise or lower the volume. In order to play or pause, you just tap, and then you tap again, and then that's your main enter button, I guess. You tap the middle, you double tap to go back, and go up or down, or to select or whatever, you just swipe up, down, left, and right. The thing about this display is that, and this is something I'm kind of impressed with, is that they put their own operating system in this headset. So it's kind of hard to explain because I can't show you guys what's inside here. But think of a smart TV. Think of a TV with its own operating system, like a Samsung or whatever. It has its own built-in apps like YouTube, Netflix, that kind of stuff. This basically has that. So if you don't have an HDMI connection, which by the way you have to connect to this controller thing, so look at this. So you have to, this one takes in a micro HDMI connection. So this is kind of similar to the Sony HMD headset in that this is a separate pack, I guess you have to bring with you all the time, which is annoying. But you have to plug in the HDMI connection here. That's your that's your source. This is a proprietary connection. It's not micro HDMI. This is some kind of proprietary cable that they use to connect the Royole Moon headset. And this is the charger for this headset. You have to charge it via this pack here. And this is the on button. The power button is actually on this pack. And so if you don't put in any source to this HDMI here, it has its own operating system, and it will go to that operating system, and it's like a smart TV. And you have to, and then you can navigate through that operating system by using the touch controls here. So you have a YouTube app in there. I don't think you have Netflix, but you have some music apps, some photo apps even. It's pretty interesting thing. This has its own storage, so I believe you can actually connect to your computer and stuff and upload some pictures or video in it, and then it's stored on the operating system, so you can actually go in it, use the photos or video app or whatever, or music app, and then you can actually do it from there. It's a pretty basic operating system, but it's kind of similar to what you see on smart TVs. But it's still pretty impressive that they built that into this headset. These ones do not have it, like the Avegant, the Vuzix, they have no operating system. They're just an external display, and if you plug it into your computer, your laptop, your PlayStation, game console, whatever, it just detects it as a separate display. And then, yeah, it's like a TV, but this one's kind of like a smart TV, you know. It has its own operating system and stuff, even when you don't plug anything in, which is pretty cool actually. And you can actually has a browser inside of it. Just it's surreal. Like, I would never use this as a browser, but you can browse the thing, and then if you type in like anything, it connects to Wi-Fi. If you type in any like characters on it and stuff, you have to use this touchscreen display, and that's not my favorite kind of navigation to use. It's not the best UI, obviously, but yeah, you can connect to Wi-Fi on this. As Bluetooth. You can connect to the internet. You can browse the web using this if you want. It's actually pretty advanced. Probably the most advanced out of all these headsets actually, and the most expensive too. The Vuzix iWear is about $500. I think this is probably the cheapest retail. This one's $800. This is the most expensive retail. Bulk wise, I think the Vuzix is still a little bit heavier. I mean, they're both bulky. The Avegant is the most portable out of the three. I think these two are pretty bulky. But yeah, everything else that I said during the unboxing is like this thing can be moved down here to fold up when you're traveling, or it can be raised up to adjust to suit your needs. And one thing is these headphones, these built-in headphones, are really good. Like, it's pretty impressive. These are supposedly noise-canceling headphones, and they are really good sound quality. They're easily the best out of all three of these headsets. They have the best sound quality, and the picture quality is also really good. Remember how I said the Avegant Glyph is very sharp visually? The retina projection system, whatever they use, is really sharp. This is almost as sharp. I wouldn't say it's as sharp, it's almost there. It's way more sharper than the iWear, and it's also way more immersive than the Glyph. It's not as immersive as the Vuzix iWear. I won't say it's as, like, the screen is like, there's like no blackness or whatever and stuff like the iWear, but it's almost like, you can see a little bit of blackness, but definitely not as much as in the Glyph and stuff. Like, I think this is kind of like the best of these two. I think it's got the visual qualities of the Glyph with the immersiveness of the iWear. It's not quite as good as those two, but it's got both of them. So it's kind of like an in-between, and you know, I like it. I think it's pretty comfortable. These snow goggle kind of things is actually pretty comfortable to wear, and you can adjust, of course. The diopter adjustment is a little bit wonky, like these ones here. It's to adjust the diopters, and then you can also like press down on this and move it over. I don't think it provides enough. Like there's only a few stops in here, and I still think that they could have added a little bit more here, and I think it would have been a little bit better. But there's just not enough settings here, I guess. The diopter adjustment is fine. I'm talking about the pupil width. I guess this adjustment here. I think they could have added a little bit more stops, because I had to press it all the way in, and I still don't think it's enough for my pupils. Diopter adjustment is fine. It's very similar to the one on the Glyph as well. The 2D, 3D button switches between the two. And yeah, what else can I say about it? It's very adjustable, and you can also obviously adjust this to suit your head shape. You can adjust this in and out, just like with these ones. Just like with these ones, you can adjust them in and out to fit your needs. It's very comfortable, actually. So that's what I think about the Royole Moon. I think it's the most technologically advanced out of the three. The visual quality is almost as good as the Glyph. It's very, very good, actually. I think because the Glyph is actually not as comfortable as the Royole, I think I would probably wear the Royole for longer. And the visual quality is almost there. It's very, very good. The iWear, compared to the iWear, it's not quite as bulky. It's still bulky, but not quite as bulky, and not quite as immersive, but still very immersive. So it's basically got the best of these two. So it's very immersive. The visual quality is very good. The audio quality is very good. The one thing I don't like about the Royole X is you have to carry around this separate pack here, and I mean, it's kind of like carrying around another smartphone, isn't it? But it's not too much to carry, actually. You can just put this in the same carrying case, and let me compare the carrying cases for you guys. This is a Vuzix carrying case. As you can see, it's very big. And the Avegant carrying case is smaller, of course. It's a smaller device, and I still think the Avegant is the most portable. It's more portable than these two, but you're giving up a little bit of the immersion if you do that. And here is the Royole Moon carrying case. So it's very, very similar in size to the Vuzix, because they're both big headsets. So they're both big carrying cases. So yeah, it's kind of hard to decide. Like, if you want to have a headset that's got good audio quality, good immersion, and you don't mind carrying around a little bit something extra like this pack here, the Royole Moon is very, very good. It's very impressive. Yeah, like if you don't mind carrying this pack around, the Royole Moon is very good. If you do mind carrying that around and you want something super portable, and you don't mind the just having a smaller display, virtual display, whatever, the Avegant Glyph would be the way to go. And that's basically my conclusions. The iWear, I would use the iWear the least, I think. Honestly, I would take the Royole, this one, over the iWear every time, just because the visual quality is so much better. It's almost as immersive. It's like 95% as immersive as the iWear anyway. And this one, you have to carry on a stupid light shield in order for it to be more immersive than the Royole Moon. I would take this one almost every time over the iWear, and most of the time over the Glyph. Unless I need to be really, really portable, then I would take the Glyph. But yeah, I think I would take this most of the time over the iWear and the Glyph. So yeah, that's my opinions about the Royole Moon. This is definitely the newest out of all these, and yeah, that's my first impressions about it. I played the same games, I played the same movies, just so I can get an unbiased opinion towards all these. And I think that's my conclusions. Get the Glyph if you really, really value portability, and you don't mind the if you don't mind the smaller virtual display size. Get the Glyph. This one is the cheapest. The Vuzix iWear is the cheapest, but it is also the most immersive if you put in the light shield and stuff. But it's also like the most bulky, and the visual quality isn't up to par with the other two. And the Royole Moon is very impressive. It is the most expensive, but I think it is most impressive. It's got its own operating system and everything, and it's just like the rest. You can plug in anything you want from HDMI connections, be it your video game consoles or your computer, your laptop, phone, smartphone, whatever you want. Yeah, that's basically it. And hope you guys enjoyed my reviews. This is the Royole Moon and my first impressions of it versus the Vuzix versus the Avegant Glyph. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you like these kind of videos.